to a video from thedigital.com. This is a new sound collection for the Korg Wavestate. This is the Fairlight collection Volume 1, and these are original Fairlight samples for the Korg Wavestate. But what I've done is I've got the samples, I've cleaned them up, I've pitch shifted them slightly, get the correct to the tuning. I brought them in using the Korg Sample Editor and made them available in the Wavestate to use in your Wavestate patches or to just play on their own. Incidentally, if you've got a mod wave, I've also got the same collection available for the mod wave, slightly different from the mod wave with slightly different formats, but you can grab that as a free download as well. So as you heard at the start, I've got the samples, some of the classic ones in like the Orchestral Strike and the ones used by Tears for Fears, but these are the 80s sounds that I've brought in the samples in here. So let's go through some of the sounds. Now most of them, what I've done is for the performances, I've just used them as a single sample so you can hear the sounds and then you can then incorporate them into your own sequences. I have got a sequence one to give you an idea of the kind of thing you can do. So there are all the Fairlight sounds in there. So you can hear those sounds, those classic sounds. So let's have a listen to what we've got. So I've called this one an 8-bit vocal. Because I've made it sound 8-bit using the effects on the Wavestate. These are all from the Fairlight IIx as well, these samples. Then we've got some vocals. Incidentally, I'm doing these on the Wavestate Native. These work on the Native and the Wavestate Rack, Wavestate SE. So this one is called Big Strings. So it's a nice big string sound. Got some more strings. These are called bow strings. Then we've got some bright brass sound. Then a vocal effect. Some of these will sound good with a sequence. We've got cello. Used by Kate Bush a lot on Hands of Love album and a lot of the tracks around there. You can hear that these cello sounds. And a low cello to go with that. We've got a deep choir. Some of these you can hear the loop points. I've done them as best as I can, but sometimes I quite like that. It gives you that sort of retro feel to it. Do and a dum, which I'm sure was used by the Alto Vocal. Got a brass ensemble. And a French horn. Another vocal one, this is Hey. And one I like to call LA Vocal because the sample's called LA Vocal. Some low strings. Some low vocals. When you hear I've added the loop points on there, again I think it adds to the character. A sample was called vocals, maybe. That sounds quite sort of ethereal. And this one, new VNLS, I guess is new violins. And now we've got the Ohh Choir. Orchestral Hit by a lot of groups in the 80s, Pet Shop Boys, many others. And of course this came from the Fairlight, and then I think it was resampled onto emulators, and so other samplers, synclaviers and so on. So it's probably on just about every synth that can play back samples in recent years. Another one from Orchestra Run. So this was recorded on the Fairlight of an orchestra, probably from a record. Quite like that effect. You may recognise this one if you're a Yes fan. Owner of a Lonely Heart. This is a sample of the Polymoog actually. I have more synths in later collections, but that's on the sample library for the 2X called Polymoog. We've got a couple of basses, a bass. Probably sound really good with a tight sequence on that one. And the one I played at the start, the so that's the R bass, or the R sound. The sample library I've got, it calls it SARRR, and some others call it ARRR, but it's definitely what Tears for Fears used. But I've heard that they used an emulator to do it, but it could have been the Fairlight. They were using Fairlight, and these samples, like I said, were passed back between each other. Got some sound effects, and then a couple are made just as an example of how you can incorporate into wave sequencing. And this one. So it's using the doos and the dars and the haze. We've got some more strings. And this one I like, it's a Shimmer. It's a nice string. We've got a short trombone and a slap bass. These sound great with a nice tight 80s style sequence. We have brass. And I think if we were to put some reverb and effect, that wouldn't sound out of place on sort of Pet Shop Boys, maybe from the sort of actually time frame. This one, it's kind of a vocal flute type sound. Then we've got sustained string, which gives you a nice little pad sound. Synth bass and a tenor choir. Nice tremolo effects on these strings though. You can imagine how these sounded when we was used to sort of analog strings and string ensembles, and I think in the early 80s when these first samplers first came out, probably sounded ultra realistic. And that trumpet 8 with some pitch modulation. I didn't put the pitch modulation, that's on the original sample. Sounds kind of warbly. And nice vocal pad. Some more vocal. A whistle and whistle. Really nice. Youhoo. We got some Fairlight strings. Instead of this is the one that was used on Run Up That Hill for the drone. It doesn't sound like it at first, but I'm going to make it into that. First of all, if you play first and third, you can hear it. Now it sounds a bit like that. And then if I add some effects, give it that 8-bit sound. You can hear now it's starting to sound like that intro on there. So it's the C and the E flat. And then if you get the cello sound, then you can then put a bit of pitch envelope on the cello sound. You can then start recreating those tracks. So those are the samples that are included in the collection. There's a couple of others that you can probably discover if you browse through the samples. So to get those into your Wavestate, what you need to do is you get the Korg Sample Editor, which I've got here. Then you need a bank and to transfer over into it. I've got a separate video on this showing you how to do it with this and the mod wave, so go on the YouTube channel and check that out. But if you go to a bank, if you've got your own bank, then what you can do is you can just add the multi-samples that I provide. So unzip the folder and you'll find here all the multi-samples. You'll find a bundle for the mod wave and one for the Wavestate, and a compiled file for the native versions as well. So open the bank that you normally use, add my multi-samples and transfer over. If you're not using banks already, you could use one I provided in that folder, or create your own, import those files over, and then send those over to your Wavestate Native. To your Wavestate Synth. If you're using the native version, then all you need to do is over here in User Sample Banks, you point this at the folder where you've unzipped the files. So that's where I put them on mine. And that will then import them over. If you use a different folder, then of course just point that to wherever you want. So those are the multi-samples, and you'll also see that folder with the original samples on there, the ones that I've used to do all this. So I hope you enjoy. This is actually my first set for the Wavestate Native. I'm normally doing mod wave ones, but as they're multi-samples and both synths share the same architecture for samples, I thought I'd share them for both synths. Right, thanks for watching this video. I hope please like if you like the video, and subscribe if you want to see more content. I'm definitely going to have more collections coming out for the Wavestate with the original Fairlight samples. I'll probably look at guitars and drums and basses and other stuff. So thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one.